For us, nerds, our muscle is our memory. Just like how athletes train their muscles to dominate their sport, we train our memory to dominate our sport. I know it might seem like sports athletes get all the attention on TV and media, so I want to shift the focus today because thinkers and brain athletes are just as sexy. Whenever I study or use my brain, I just love imagining myself as a superhero genius, solving the world's most epic problems. Obviously, I'm not doing anything super heroic, but who knows, maybe you are a prodigy and you're bound for greatness. And I'd like to think that maybe I'm making a difference in your life. So today, we're gonna share with you Mike and Matty's 8 M's to master your memory.
We're talking about 4 habits, 4 hacks. And as we go along, I want to challenge you guys to a little game. See if you can count how many times we use a word that starts with the letter M. Here we go. The first habit is movement. Basically, exercise. Movement, motion, motility, mobility, maneuverability, mud, run, you get the picture. Studies found that routine exercise stimulates brain cell growth in the areas of the brain that are responsible for memory.
Or exercise actually produces brand new brain cells in the hippocampus that actually increase its volume as well as improve your long-term memory.
Beefcakes might have the biggest brains on the market. Just saying. So of course you're wondering what type of exercise and what's the minimum amount of exercise you need to get these memory effects. A good starting point would be 30 minutes of aerobic exercise 3 to 4 times a week. And once that becomes child's play, you can ramp it up. The next habit is mood. When we're learning something and we really want to make it stick, our mind needs to be right. Our brain remembers most of the emotional stuff in life, so we have to get in the right state of mind to receive the information.
What was the driving emotion you had back in school? For most people, they were bored, right? And if you times anything by 0, what do you get? You get 0. So most people don't remember what they learned back in school because of the state. Is there a song or a fragrance or a food that could take you back to when you were a child? Of course, because information combined with that emotion becomes a long-term memory.
If you're struggling because you find it impossible to care about what you're learning about, try reframing it as curiosity to motivate yourself. If you find it boring, try reframing it as a game to add some fun to it. If you find that you don't have any feelings toward it whatsoever, like not a single thought goes through your head while you're there, like me in the operating room, then you might need to add a little bit of emotion into it. Listen to music while you learn. Speaking of which, next is music. There's a lot of science that supports how certain types of music can actually boost our memory. Binaural beats is a big one. It has the ability to change our brain waves into a state that's more beneficial for retention.
Binaural beats have been shown to modestly improve cognition, attention, working memory, and even creativity. And the rationale is that those intermediate frequencies place the brain into a state that is better for learning.
Just search binaural beats for memory on YouTube. Or better yet, check out the one that we made in the description. Another way to use music is conditional training. Whatever you are listening to while you study, try listening to it while you sleep. At a lower volume, of course, to help your brain remember what you learned. The last habit is meals. Yeah, kind of a stretch. I couldn't think of a lot of M words that were related to food. Morsels, menu, mealtime, mukbang. That's a thing, right? Probably saying it wrong though. Anyways, there's certain types of food that are backed by science that can boost our memory. I'll give you the quick and dirty. The 2 special ingredients you want to consume for better memory are omega-3 fatty acids and antioxidants.
Yes, there is a lot of research showing that omega-3 fatty acids are really crucial for brain health. The brain is the organ in the entire body that is most sensitive to oxidative stress. But the brain doesn't have antioxidants itself, so we really need to import these antioxidants from the diet.
Not getting enough of these is linked to impaired learning. The best way to get these fats is by eating freshwater fish, like salmon, or nuts, especially walnuts. You can remember that walnuts are shaped like tiny brains. The best way to get antioxidants is by drinking coffee or tea, in moderation, of course, or by eating blueberries. You can remember blueberries as brain berries. Before we move on to memory hacks, I want to thank the sponsor of this video, Shortform. Shortform provides some of the best book summaries out there, and they take it even a step further by providing smart insights and analysis of the main ideas. I've been using Shortform to explore business, health, and productivity related books. I wanted to learn more about how memory works, and after listening to a handful of book summaries, I decided to finally invest my time with the actual book, Moonwalking with Einstein by Joshua Foer, which has a few techniques that we'll be covering a little later in this video. So go on over to shortform.com/Mike and Matty and start reading more books than you did last year.
All right, now we're going to talk about the 4 hacks for better memorization, starting with mnemonics. Basically, mnemonics are when we associate information with some sort of pattern to help us better remember. There are many different types of mnemonics, like image association or coin sayings. For example, when you're tightening a bolt, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. One of my favorites is when you want to memorize a list. You take the first letter of each word and you make a sentence or an acronym. A mnemonic that I've always remembered from childhood was the order of the planets in our galaxy. My very educated mother just served us noodles, but you can personalize it to make it easier to remember for you. In medical school, we had a mnemonic for pretty much everything, and the dirtier it was, the more memorable. I'm just gonna go ahead and drop one of the most popular ones right here, but I'm not gonna say it because, I don't want YouTube to go flagging our videos. Next is the memory palace, or the method of loci. The idea here is that you're associating pieces of information with familiar images because our brains are good at visualization. An easy way is to pick a place that is already familiar to you, and then in your imagination, you put the things you want to remember in those places. For example, I remember my parents' house very well. It's where I grew up. Right when you open the door, there is a shoe rack, and then there's a couch to the right, and then there's a coffee table next to that, and then there's a grand piano beyond that, and then there's a dining table on the other side. So if I wanted to remember, let's say, the 6 infinity stones in order: space, reality, power, mind, time, soul. Okay, that was more than one take. What I would do is I would visualize an astronaut opening the front door, a shoe rack with the sign real on it, the Hulk sitting on the couch lifting weights, Professor X moving the coffee table with his mind, a giant clock on the piano, and that Disney character from Soul at the dining table. The more vivid the imagery, the better it sticks in your memory. So give it a try. You can put anything you want to remember from class into each of those locations, like photosynthesis or the steps of the Krebs cycle. And when it's time to remember, it's as easy as a walk in your house. Next, we have mind maps, and this one is similar to Memory Palace in that you're associating info with visual memory. But rather than memorizing things in a specific order, you're memorizing how things are related to each other. So let me use a real medical example here. Let's talk about heart diseases. There are many different types. You can have disease of the heart muscle itself, disease of the heart valves, blood vessels, heart rhythm, heart function. You get the picture. So when I'm working in the hospital and a patient comes into me complaining of chest pain, in my head, I quickly run through a mind map of all the heart diseases that it could possibly be. It's kind of like looking at an actual map, and each area on the map has different characteristics that help me narrow it down. A nice little trick here is to use different colors and even pictures when creating your map. So if I'm asked about how this is related to that, I can quickly think to myself, oh yeah, where on my mind map was that disease located? And I can use spatial memory to figure it out. And to really solidify this, try taking out a piece of paper and just drawing out your mind map from memory to see how much you can recall. And finally, we have the best hack of all, the ultimate tool and completely free of charge. Drum roll, please. And that is to subscribe to Mike and Matty. I know it's too good to be true, but really we love talking about science, wellness, and just being a lifelong learner. We have a course on productivity, a course on studying for exams. It's free for you to watch on Skillshare, link in the description below. But if you're new here, I'd recommend you start with some of our favorite study and learning videos, which you can find right here.